What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Dicing It Up. I'm your host, Glenn, joined here with Harry and Dylan today.
Yes,
Gentlemen,
sir.
what's going on?
After a
Going, guys?
long time, our host is
Yeah, man.
The
Holy.
return.
the return. The return of the host.
Not a full-time return. It's just a one-off for the time being, just to help out. Because I wanted to. I know we were talking about sports throughout the weeks since I've been gone, so I was like, might be a good idea to hop on a podcast and kind of direct the two wild hooligans that you guys are. So,
For sure.
yeah.
Be a deserved break for yourself, I would say.
Yeah, man. Honestly, like it's been kind of crazy trying to do
Yeah.
these
You want to give our viewers a little bit of insight into
Yeah, so recently bought a house after marriage, bought a house. And
congrats.
thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate the love. It's not been easy because we moved in and then we started doing renos right off the bat, and we're actually occupying ourselves in two bedrooms while we navigate through this. It's been about 4 weeks, I think now. And the reason why it's taking a long time is because we're doing it in house. We're trying to do it ourselves. And Dylan, for those that don't know, is my brother, unfortunately. So every chance that he
Amen to
gets,
that.
every chance he gets, he actually swings by. And there's an actual awesome video, Harry. Yesterday, there's my brother and my dad are drilling into the cement to put an air vent through. It's an awesome video. It's like a father-son moment. It was actually pretty cool. So like we had like a lot of it is in house. Like Harry and Marin have come down and given me a hand here and there as
The
well.
wives.
So,
Don't forget the wives.
oh man, the wives are a whole different animal, man. These guys like they never give up, always consistently moving. I gotta say, so a lot of love, especially from our family and friends, a lot of through this process. So although it's been dragging on and it's taken a while, the finish
That's
line is
awesome.
kind of
It's
yeah, man.
always
Yes,
a huge
sir.
accomplishment when you buy your first house,
Yeah,
uh, and it goes a long way when it comes from Toronto, as you all
100%.
know. It's not the easiest to get into. So
Facts.
we are very happy for you, my
You
friend.
know the
Mhm.
funniest thing. I don't know if anybody here gets a chance to listen to the Steve Dangle podcast. He always says the cheapest real estate in Toronto is in front of the Toronto Maple Leafs net. That is where the cheapest real estate is. That was the best reaction I saw ever from Dylan.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, everything else is pretty expensive. So
That's something that I would say to you.
yeah, I was gonna say actually, like talking about this process, like I don't want to take too much of the episode for it, but I would love to on a lifestyle episode talk about real estate,
Yeah.
talk about that process, how it went for me, from my perspective, from Harry's
Yeah.
perspective, and Marin and Shivam's perspective, and Dylan's too. All of us here are homeowners, and it'd be a very good insight for those that are not listening in the Toronto market what it sounds like. So I think that's an episode we should definitely jump on, guys.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah. That's a cool.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially on a lifestyle
It
one.
is.
We should
It
really.
is complicated and
Mhm.
it's a confusing process, like when
It
you're
is.
first getting into. So for any viewers that are slowly getting into the market or willing to listen to it, but yeah, it'll be a great episode. I would
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of listening to, we do want to officially announce that we are on Spotify. Um, we haven't really acknowledged the fact that we were on Spotify. We kind of
Yeah.
uploaded all of our older episodes, and so this is the first episode that we're recording where we are actually acknowledging that we are on Spotify, so you can get your podcast available on Spotify. We're working on Apple Music to try and see if we can get our stuff out there as well. So hopefully, sometime in the near future, while we're in this process of rhinos and personal life and trying to do everything that we're handling, hopefully I can get a chance to go to Apple Music and upload some of our podcasts there as well. But coming soon to a theater near you.
exactly. Now you guys can
Awesome.
listen to us on your shitty drive home.
Especially
Hopefully, we can make it a little bit easier.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
so,
All right, boys. How about we jump right into this?
yeah, this is okay. This one needed me to kind of jump on because this was like the most dumbest thing that I actually was listening to the both of you guys debate about. So we
You
were
want to fight?
actually, yeah, let's fight. We have a group chat between the three of us where we talk pretty much sports. Most of the conversation is surrounding sports. So we were talking about the conversation that we saw Isaiah Thomas have, where he was on the panel, and I think Charles Oakley or someone came out and said,
Okay.
"Oh,
Yeah. Trustworthy.
Giannis wouldn't do well in this era," and because I think Giannis recently walked up to Allen Iverson and said, "You're the reason why I'm playing basketball." So I think there's a conversation that was had, and Oakley came.
Charles
out
Oakley said in the '90s era, not today's.
Yeah, so basically what Charles Oakley was trying to say is that Giannis wouldn't do well in the 90s era, and Isaiah Thomas was like, stop this. Like, let's stop trying to be old 70-year-olds, 8-year-olds fart heads that are sitting at home and have nothing better to do and complain about the fact that the game has changed. Like, let's get with the program and get on with the fact that some of these guys are far better athletes than we were in their time. So let's stop this nonsense and acknowledge the fact that Giannis is an animal. He isn't. He's a beast. You literally call him the Greek freak, and he would survive in the 90s era, especially with his physical kind of play. So with that one being said, we were talking about who are some of the athletes that we can think of off the top of our head that would do well in this era. And
so
there
you're
were
talking about like old heads, like guys from the 90s, 80s.
Yeah.
Who would do good in this era.
It could be so anybody that's like pre, let's say, let's have a cap, like let's say pre 2010.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, that's a definitely good start.
That's fair. Yeah.
Even up to the game was a bit different. I feel like now the game has gotten way more faster. It's played in different.
Any sport, really.
Of course, guys are shooting. Guys off the bench are shooting 10 threes a game, which is
unheard of back in the days. Yeah.
Like I don't think even Reggie Miller, who's one of the most three-point shooters, shot 10 threes a game. You'll be benched, my friend, if you shoot 10 threes a game. Playing for some of these coaches back in the day, but now it's kind of expected to, right? Like that's why the volume of shooting that's needed in today's game.
So with that being said, I was gonna say the three of us picked two athletes from all team sports. Okay, like MLB, NFL, NHL, and NBA. Two athletes that we all think would survive. Give me your reasonings as to why. Don't say LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Like that's just the Homer pick. I don't want to hear that nonsense. Don't give me some generational player. Like, give me someone. Okay, fine. Might be generational. Like if you were to say, like Giannis makes sense, right? Giannis is a good choice. T-Mac is a good choice, right? So pick players that are.
But these are superstars. Maybe let's try to avoid that, though, right?
Yeah. Like okay. Well, let's not say let's try and avoid superstars because
we know that they can do well in every era, right?
Let's keep it to the fact that like let's see, because it is a two different games that we are playing right now. So let's go ahead and start and see what we come up with.
Come up with some names. Let's just say let's go ahead.
Let's see. Let me see one of your guys.
I would say Richard Jefferson.
Name the sport.
NBA. Oh my god! All right, dude. NBA Richard Jefferson. Okay, 2004, 2005. My guy was putting up 22, 7, and 4. He was on his way to becoming an all-star. He's one of the best NBA players of all time that's not an all-star, right? So I think he's versatile. He is an all-arounder. I wouldn't say he was great at one thing, but he was an all-arounder. There was no flaw. I think teams would love to have him in today's NBA because he's 6'7". He's a perfect 3-and-D. Again, I don't want to pick your typical players, but I think Richard Jefferson would just thrive in today. And I'm talking about peak, man. See, that's my problem. That's my problem. It's like guys like Richard Jefferson, Paul Pierce, Joe Johnson. These guys are forgotten because of the fact that either they're a TV personality or the fact that they just young bucks haven't seen what these guys were able to do in their peak, in their prime, right? So I would say Richard Jefferson, man.
No, I'm not trying to diss on Richard Jefferson. I was just saying, like, of all the choices, that was the one that came into your mind first.
I had another one, but I'll save it for later. But yeah,
I think that's a very deep choice because he was like that was it 03, 04 when they went to the finals. He was a very integral part along with Vince Carter.
One of the best in-game dunkers, man. Gotta go see some of those clips. He was nasty.
Yeah,
he was nasty
for sure. And even when he played with LeBron, he played a
he played his role.
He played his role, and he played what he needed to do. I'll definitely agree. Like he's one of the players that any team today would love to have. I'm gonna keep it to the similar era. I would say I'm gonna go with NBA. My man, Rasheed Wallace.
Nice.
Ooh, I like that.
Monster.
I like that pick.
Yes, he was a monster. Drafted by, I forgot who drafted him.
I think it was Portland.
I don't think Portland drafted him. He played in Portland, but Portland wasn't the team that drafted him. I might be wrong on that. Anyways, but his career was made in the Pistons. This guy was a defensive maniac and such a high energy guy that kind of elevated your team in that sense, right? And even on the offensive side, like what guys want nowadays, these tall 6'11", 6'10", 7-foot guys that could shoot the three, play the defense, and cover positions. That's Sheed, all in all. He was playing beyond his era. If he played nowadays, and with the pace of the game that we are playing nowadays, he would be a monster. He would be unstoppable. Keep in mind, like, his number
picked by the Bullets, by the way. Washington Bullets.
Washington Bullets. There we go. Yeah, he was drafted by the Bullets, and he went to the Portland and back to Pistons. But as I was saying, like, Pistons team played a very, very slow pace offense, and even within that offense, he averaged about 15 points a game, had about 7 to 8 rebounds, couple blocks, steals. And the energy that he brought into that 03 championship team, right? Now imagine the same guy playing in today's era, right? Who has the
probably
same
get bumped to the 5, but yeah.
For sure, yeah, he will get bumped to the 5, and he would still be a monster on that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He has a bit of an attitude issue, but yeah,
Mr. Technical Fouls leader.
I could already think of the team Harry wants to put him on.
The Raptors. Raptors. I would love to see him on Raptors. Someone that could kind of create some offense and bring that energy that the Raptors sometimes.
He would get the fans riled up. That would be fun.
Don't you think with Masai and the culture that the Raptors have, like he might be able to kind of simmer down a little bit there?
Of course.
Or is part of the appeal, or is part of the appeal his demonstrative attitude?
Yes, I understand. Like, Masai doesn't really go after players that are a bit of a locker room issue. Understandably so. But sometimes watching Raptors game, I also feel like we need a guy like that.
Yeah.
We need a kick in the butt in like some of these. We go on these dry spells where nothing could get created. I think we need someone like that. Quickly to wrap it up, a player that I see now that gets a lot of chances and kind of plays a similar way to Sheed, but in a smaller size is PJ Tucker, sorry. And the guy's corner 3 just got rejuvenated and became one of the best corner 3 this season.
Yeah, that Milwaukee run was amazing.
Exactly, and now with the Heat, he does the same thing. Like if Sheed bugging into a team like Raptors, or for that matter, any other team, and really giving a championship boost to some of these teams.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the both of you guys are picking guys from the NBA, and you're picking guys that would fit the mold. I would say, like a back to the basket, or Rasheed going away from back to the basket and more face up, spread the floor, be more of a defensive presence. Like I think, you're right. He would fit, and I can see why Dylan's saying Richard Jefferson as well. Although for me, I'm kind of like, there's got to be somebody else. But I mean, Dylan saying Richard Jefferson makes the most sense for him.
Hey, I got a couple more if you want.
Hey, listen, it is your choice, man. I'm not gonna say no to it. But honestly speaking, the both of you guys are going balls. I mean, balls.
Pause.
Listen, man, it's been
pause.
Long days, short nights. Okay, so I'm allowed a freebie here. I'm gonna pick a guy that's not basketball. I'm actually gonna pick two guys that are not basketball at all. So I'm gonna pick George Brett of the Kansas City Royals, third baseman. Not a big heavy power hitter. And the reason why I pick him is because Kansas City. So think of it this way: when Kansas City was going for their run, they were going for their championship run when they won it. Actually, the year before they played, I believe it was San Francisco Giants. I could be wrong. They lost.
You're right. Yeah, they lost.
The year that they lost. So if you take that team and replace Moustakas with George Brett, you're getting a very good defender, and you're getting a very good put the ball in play, right? Because Kansas City's entire motto is put the ball in play. They don't like to strike out.
Yeah, always. Yeah,
they're putting the ball in play, and they love defense. And if there's anything,
Mike Moustakas was good too.
He was, but you replace him with George Brett.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Conversation. So for me, like if you guys know me, I don't like when I play baseball, I love to put the ball in play. I don't like the big home runs. I don't like the big swings. I like putting contact and putting pressure on the defense.
Yeah.
So a guy like George Brett in today's game would be kind of revolutionary because nowadays the game is gone towards home runs and exit
Mhm.
velocity, right? You're seeing a lot of things where players are going away from the base hit, going for what's the right play. If you got a guy on scoring position, sometimes these guys are trying to hit a double, sometimes they're even trying to hit a home run. Sometimes you're trying to hit a home run and you're trying to hit a grand slam with one guy on base. That's what the narrative is in baseball these days. Guys are trying to hit a home run or a grand slam when there's one guy on base. So the whole point is that we've gone away from putting the ball in play, and
Mhm.
with rumors of baseball now going to be eliminating the shift,
Shift, yeah.
um, with the MLBPA agreeing to that, apparently those are the rumors. So if the shift is eliminated, it's
So
going to
hold
bring. Mhm.
wrote me this. When you say they're eliminating the ship, it's not allowed, or is it like something that's
Not allowed
It's not
anymore.
allowed.
oh really?
So you're going to see players like Chris Davis, Ryan
Ryan
Howard,
Howard,
Chase Utley,
Chase Utley, yeah.
those guys that were struggling against the shift, even guys that are like Jose Batista, at some point he was getting the full right-handed shift happening to him.
Yeah.
Edwin Encarnacion at some points was getting the full right-handed shift. Even Vlad is getting the shift.
Yeah.
Now you have that situation where they can't shift anymore and they're going to have to play in their situated position. So it causes a little bit more stress on the defense. And like imagine if you have a shortstop, because remember your third baseman sometimes is shifting over to your shortstop position, and
Shortstop.
your shortstop
Yeah.
goes out to the second base. But like, there's a whole magnetic switch that happens. So
Yeah, because that hole
imagine,
in first base to second base, right? Because there's that
yeah,
huge
it
hole right
depends on
there.
if you're going left or right, depending on
Yeah.
where you go. They usually put the most pivotal athlete, the guy that can get to the grounders quicker. They're usually going into those shortstop slash second base spot, depending on the handedness. So with that being said, I like players that put the ball in play. That's my biggest
Mhm.
thing, and I like
Fair
good
enough.
defense. And I think when you look at the Kansas City Royals when they were trying to win the chip, putting in George Brett there, right before they like the year that they didn't win, the year before with the Giants, if you put George Brett in there, I think they win it. So I think he's a very good athlete to pick
Nice.
in today's game.
Nice.
Good to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, let's go back to Dylan. Pick another guy. Man, don't go basketball again,
All right, I
man.
won't go basketball. I'll give you something nice. I'll go in the NHL. I'll give you Pavel
Oh,
Bure. Okay,
woo!
the
Hey, who's
Russian
it again?
Rocket. Pavel Bure,
Oh yes.
the Russian Rocket.
Oh
Uh,
my!
bro, who was gonna
Oh,
catch this guy? Like literally, there is no one in the NHL could even keep up with this guy.
are you
What?
picking him because Instagram called you up?
No, actually, no. Hey, listen, I just picked up. Hey, listen, I picked Marcus Naslund because he's my OG. That's who I
So
grew up with.
context. So let's get some context. So me and Dylan did a NHL all-time team. We just kind of went center, defenseman, winger, and goalie. And Dylan picked Marcus Naslund over Pavel Bure. And some people in the comments were like, "Are you serious? How do you
One
pick
person.
Naslund over
One person.
one
But again,
person?"
but again, I'm gonna go with the guy that's my OG. Okay, I
Fair
grew
enough.
up with
Fair enough.
Marcus Naslund.
Fair.
Anyways, Mr. Russian Rocket, back-to-back 60-goal scorer, and I think with the Panthers, he also scored 58 and 59, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't think there is one guy that can catch him. I wish I was able to watch this
Okay,
guy, but
yeah, yeah.
I was not. But yeah, he was my pick.
I mean, honestly, he's a good pick. I think, but
Today's
remember,
yeah.
when you're picking hockey players from back then, like especially when you're talking about goal scorers, the game was so much more different, right? Pads were smaller. There was two-line passing
Yeah.
restrictions, off the rush. Like there's different type of goal scorers. There's transition goal scorers, and then you got Matthews who can literally score in a slap shot,
and
snap
and
shot,
yeah,
shot.
yeah.
Yeah. So
I think for me, it's just that I'm going off of speed, right? Because I know
yeah,
we've talked about this prior too, right? It's in every major sport now. It's all about speed. It's all about how quickly you can get from point A to point B, right? So I think for me, it's that Pavel Bure, he fits the mold, and that's in that aspect, right? If you look at someone like a Connor McDavid, obviously Connor's in his own little world, but in the sense that just getting from one end to the other is what I'm trying to say, right? So I think it's just speed, right? So and that's what kills in today's sports in all four major sports in some sort of aspect, right? So that's why I went with them.
I think it's in all major facets of the world. Like Harry has said this many times, speed is literally the narrative in every asset of facets of the world.
Yeah,
In our
yeah.
life.
You could deliver a product, whether it's in the case sports a goal or a touchdown, whatever the case is, or like in the case of
Amazon,
outside world product, yeah, like an Amazon.
Uber, Amazon,
You
yeah.
could deliver something fast and it's convenient. I think you got a game changer now. So yeah, I agree with Dylan on that. Someone with his speed and skill set, I could see him thrive in today's NHL. I went the route of NFL. Yeah, now
Funny.
that was done, we saw some guys with speed and skill,
Yeah.
namely Aaron Donald, a monster,
That
right?
was
What a
an
play! What a way
amazing
to
play near
end
the
it.
end.
What a way to end Super Bowl. Like,
And the
he
Super Bowl,
made
yeah.
the right play. You know what I mean? Especially on a game, especially in NFL, it seems like defense is getting tougher and tougher to play. Um, Offensive players are protected so much. Even a little bump and a little pass, uh,
It's a
you
flag.
get called a flag, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's the wide receiver and quarterback, don't even get me started how they get protected. I understand you're trying to protect your asset, your big value players, but
Yeah.
there has to be a little bit of leeway for defense to be played, right? As you all know, I love defense on all aspects of sports, whether
Yeah.
it's
I
basketball,
think
whether
all of us do, I think, yeah.
yeah, like for me, defense is like offense is given. The whole point of the offense is for you to score, but being a defensive player is so tactical. You're really trying to stop someone that has an advantage over you to start with, right? As an offensive player, you have the ball. You're going to be shooting. You're going to be throwing the ball for a touchdown. You're going to be shooting it to score on the goal. But as a defensive player, your whole thing is to counteract that and be a tactician to stop you from doing what you are set out to do with momentum. That's amazing for me, right? That's what I thrive in and what I enjoy watching as well. But in that sense, I'm gonna go with a guy that ended his career kind of short, Calvin Johnson, Megatron. Um, Stafford's old teammate, played all
Yeah.
his time with Lions. It was kind of sad to see him finish his career. Yeah, he had a couple injuries, but he had a 9-year career, a monster once again, 6'5", 240 pounds. Like, he was a huge, huge target. Now imagine having this guy. Once again, he played in a very bad team. Same, just like Matthew Stafford. All his time played in Detroit Lions, who did nothing to improve their team. All they had was Stafford, and they had Megatron. Two players out of the 30-odd players you need to play the game, right? They didn't do anything else to draft. They didn't do anything to trade and build around them. But the guy didn't leave anywhere else. He played in the same team, and unfortunately ended his career short. I would love to see him make a comeback or comeback is harder, but love to see him play in today's game where you are given as an offensive player so much leeway, and a target on his size would be would be like candy for him.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks would love him. Offensive coordinators would drool over someone like that. Right? Granted, he only retired in 2015, but 7 years passed. Games change
Still a long time.
bit,
Yeah.
right? But that's one player that I would love to see come back and watch him again. I would say.
You cheated on the 2010 rule, but it's okay.
Well, yeah, but granted, like he was
I
playing
know.
2007. That's when Calvin came into the game. I think I would give him a pass just because he played in a shitty team. Come on.
Fair enough.
Let's break the rules already.
Same team that went 0-16.
16, yeah.
I mean, if you I get what you mean.
NFL, like
some of the listeners are going to be like, well, I mean, if he's such a great player, they could have at least won one game out of those 16, though.
it is, but like
like Harry said, it's 2 out of 30 odd guys, man.
Like, the thing is,
look at LeBron James. He's the GOAT, one of the GOATs in the NBA, and they're losing.
Yeah.
Another thing is also like football is not like any other game. Like one player cannot make a massive change.
Yeah.
It's not like basketball where you have the ball so much and you could influence the game so much in one aspect. Football, it's just not simply that kind of game, right? It's just like there's only so many passes you could catch and so many things you could do before it's out of your hands.
Exactly.
All right, so let's just wrap this up really quickly. I'm not going to take too much time. I'm just going to go with one of my favorites of all time. I'm going to go Bobby Orr.
Nice.
Bobby Orr. I know he's a GOAT, but like, here's the thing. Like, there's always been a debate of whether he's considered a GOAT just because of the fact that he lost a lot of time. He had ankle issues and knee issues. So we never really truly got to see him. But there's an argument out there in the world today that, you know, Bobby Orr could have been considered one of the greatest, well, the greatest hockey player of all time, possibly. As a defenseman, he was putting up like 100-point seasons like it was no one's business, right? And he was having 40-goal seasons, 140-goal season. So the reason why I picked him was because he is considered the best skating defenseman of all time.
Yeah.
And in an era where offense was pretty much generated off the rush, sorry, not necessarily off the rush. It was generated pretty much in a half ice set. And for people that are listening, if you ever watch basketball, half court set is the same thing as half ice set. Bobby Orr changed the game with transition game. His transition movement, first step and second step, always made the defense kind of. I think he termed agility. That side to side turn was all because of Bobby Orr, right? So he was able to go at side to side turn at top speed like no one else could. And the only other person that they say that's second to Bobby Orr is Paul Coffey. And Paul Coffey is a really good choice as well. But I think in today's game where offense is pretty much the whole narrative, like you don't really see a lot of Victor Hedmans in the NHL anymore.
Yeah.
Or Chris Pronger in the NHL anymore for that matter as well. So So with that, guys, I'm going to sign off here for us, and I'm going to let the fans know that the listeners know actually that, you know, we're working through this podcast. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for showing us some love on YouTube and Spotify. We're going to work to get ourselves on Apple as well for those that have messaged us regarding Apple.
And we're also on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.
Yeah, show us some love. Show us some love. We'll try and get you guys some more.
And we're getting on Twitch eventually.
Exactly, and we don't do the same content on all of them, so it's a little different on each platform. So join us on TikTok to see our fun challenges. On Instagram, our short clips. Spotify, we do. I guess slowly we'll go into longer podcasts and stuff like that. So we would appreciate your love, and thanks for joining us again.
Shit. All right, boys. Cheers. This is Dicing It Up. Signing off. Have a good one, guys.
Cheers.